Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Kruntzman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks, coming to you, as always, from the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is the Mind Your Puckin' Business podcast, brought to you, of course, by the Bamboozle Project, DraftKings, and Raycon. This is episode number 120 on the Spanish dial. That's would be Ciento Viente for those tuning in via the SAP feature. So we welcome you. Thank you for your viewership. You can go to the Bamboozle Project and get all of your summer gear for what is left of a quickly dwindling summer, or be proactive and get some winter gear like that winter hat, which is the number one seller.
Yes.
But remember, when you are on the website getting it, use promo code MYPB, save yourself a whopping 25%. You can send us your questions at any time to mypbshow@gmail.com. Or you can also DM us your questions, which seems to be the preferred route these days. And you can do that at our Instagram page, which is at Mind Your Pucking Business, all one word.
Yes.
So 4 words into one.
Boom.
Yeah, can you spell it right? You can listen to the show a variety of different ways. You can watch the video feed, of course, on YouTube. You can also listen to the audio at any time as well on Spotify and iTunes. So we are back. Couple programming notes before we get into the show. We are now back to weekly segments. I don't know if you saw this yesterday. We had an announcement, and if you didn't hear it, you're probably in the intro, we're a little confused. DraftKings, we welcome them on for sponsorship, as well as Raycon. And we had put something up on Instagram yesterday about it, and someone asked when we are back to our weekly schedule, because somewhere around here we do take some weeks off. There's also not a ton to talk about, but we are back now programming-wise to our weekly bit, because hockey will be back. Ranger training camp will open in about 4 weeks, but we already have the NFL preseason going on.
Yes.
NFL week 1 is now only 3.5 weeks away. So we're getting closer. So there's excitement building around here and everywhere for that. So we'll be back to the weekly stuff from here on out. We have some new football guests. One of them will be on today. That will be with us periodically through the season. Among some other guests. As I mentioned, we're excited for DraftKings to be here. It's kind of cool. You'll hear us just, throwing it out there. You may hear us run, say some ads during the show and whatnot. That's what sponsorships are. They don't just come, just sponsor and they don't get anything out of it. So if you hear that occasionally through a show here and there, you'll have to learn to live with it. And we only here's the other thing.
Yes.
We only, and I don't know, well, you and I have never talked about this, but I have found that if we're going to have a sponsor, it would only be for a product that we like. Like I use DraftKings every day. I wear stuff from the Bamboozle Project. I use earbuds, so Raycon would work for me. I feel like we do that.
Yeah. We use DraftKings a lot.
We use DraftKings a lot. And as I say that, I just thought to myself of previous sponsors we've had on the show. I don't know if you could really date yourself.
I mean, I've been here for all of them.
But you've been here, but you're involved like me. This is not your, you don't do this every day. You have other things going on in life. Heck, you've been married and had a kid since the sponsor I'm thinking about years ago. Think about it like this. Maybe sponsors that would come in occasionally from time to time. Like,
okay. Is this a trivia question?
No,
is this a riddle?
I'm not asking you to say it either. I don't want you to say it. I don't want to get ourselves in trouble. I'm just saying, like, we like the products that we have sponsor the show. So even in the past, when people would come in here and, do 10-minute spiels about certain topics that weren't related to sports, we like them.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're on the same page?
Yes, we like everybody.
We like everyone. Yeah. We're family-friendly environment. We don't have no enemies at MYPB.
Not yet.
No. Let's keep it that way. All right, so we're going to, as I mentioned, as we get closer to football now, we're going to get into do a lot more football content. Hockey content will be there. August is a very slow month for hockey. It's probably the slowest month of the year because you have hockey really going from September on to the Stanley Cup in June. And then when it ends in June, either your team has been eliminated, but at least the summer months, you have free agency. In the Rangers case this year, coaching changes. So you have all of that going on, but then you get to August and it's just like dead. So the only thing I want to talk about Ranger thing, because people have been messaging us about it, Lafreniere is going to get signed. The only thing left here for the Rangers to do. And Dan Rosen from NHL.com, who was on with us 2 weeks ago, even mentioned this as well. Lafreniere will get signed. He's a restricted free agent. People kind of panic and they say, oh my God, he's unsigned. Well, the Montreal Canadiens or someone else can go and sign him. It's not really how it works with a restricted free agent, because the team that owns the rights, in this case the Rangers, would have the opportunity to match his contract. So no one's going to do that. Lafreniere even came out at the end of last week. Someone asked him about it and said, look, I'm going to be a Ranger. I'm not going anywhere. I like it there. I want to resign there. It's just a matter of time. To me, I would look at it right now and say, since we're sitting here in mid-August, August 15th, and I should say happy 10th birthday to my son today because it's August 15th.
Oh, happy birthday, yes, happy birthday, boy.
Happy birthday to the Tyler man. So, but because it is August 15th and you're now kind of in this non-hockey mode, expect the deal to get done, I would say, within a week before training camp. This is not going to be an issue. So Lafreniere will be back. And someone pointed out yesterday or the other day, and one of our comments or whatever, that Lafreniere, I want to say something for the Lafreniere haters, because we know I'm not a Lafreniere hater, but I want him off the third line for the 800th time. Lafreniere in the last 2 years has scored as many goals at even strength 5-on-5 as Mika Zibanejad. Think about that for a minute.
We were talking about that. Didn't he, at one point he had the most goals in the team, man-up goals or something? I don't remember what the stat was, but he was like it was the most not man-up goals. Even strength. Even strength
and
goals.
Even strength, Dougie Sticks, is 5-on-5. So you were on the exact same page here. So in the last 2 seasons, he has as many 5-on-5 goals as Mika Zibanejad. He will be re-signed. He will be back on the Rangers. Let's not sit here and panic.
Yeah, there's no reason to panic.
And then preseason for the Rangers will actually open in 5.5 weeks. I mean, we're getting close, which means training camp will open in about 4. So as I mentioned, we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to start to cover some football around here. Now, in the past, what we've done in football season, certain things are going to remain in place. We do our weekly picks every week. We pick 5 games with the spread. We've had 3 winning seasons. So if you have listened to us on our weekly picks and you made every pick, we hope you're listening to us from Aruba right now and you took your money and you bought a boat somewhere nice. Obviously not Hawaii, which I should say I feel awful out there. So our thoughts are with the island of Maui. I've been there a bunch of times. Tough to see. So hopefully you're in Aruba with the money that we've made you. So the weekly picks will be back. We'll be back week 1 with that. We will be doing that. We'll have football guests throughout the course of the season. We have some new guests coming on. One of them is going to be on in a matter of moments. We'll have some of the usual football guests from around the league. We're going to try here because the expectation level for both the Giants and the Jets are pretty high, right? The Giants had a very good season last year, better season than anyone thought they were going to have. So the expectations are high there. Obviously, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook last night and Garrett Wilson, their expectations are high. Vegas's DraftKings over-under would support that. So there's a lot of excitement there. So we're going to try and do some local coverage a little bit more. Nice. It'll never be to the level that we cover the Rangers. It's impossible for us to do that. But we're going to cover like specifically the Giants some weeks. We'll do, we'll detail into the Jets. Now before we get to our guest, I want to do like a homework assignment for you.
Okay.
And again, as usual, this is not stuff that you and I have talked about beforehand. I want to know before the season with you. So you have to do this. You have to do this before week 1.
Wait, didn't I pass this test with flying colors last year?
I don't even know what test you're talking about.
But you gave me some preseason questions and I nailed all of them.
I don't even remember that, but that's not where I'm going. This isn't a question. This is a question, but this is not the difficult answer.
Okay.
You are like me in that you root for the Giants, you root for the Jets, you root for your DraftKings bets, you root for your fantasy team, right? You're all over the map. Yeah. I am guilty by association too. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm perfect because I'm not. I'm the same thing. I want to know for you going into this year with both New York teams, with expectations high, because you do show up at the tailgate parking lot for each team. It doesn't matter if it's green or blue.
Whatever's going on in MetLife.
You don't care. You'll show up with your recipes. Yeah. I want to know what team has more support from you this year.
Ooh.
I don't need to know now. I want you to think about it. I want to put you on the spot.
I will say this. There is a DraftKings bet for a Giants Super Bowl.
Okay.
I know, I had a Giants Bills.
I remember. We remember
that was we were getting kind of close to that. Yes,
we remember,
and that would have paid for my Super Bowl ticket.
And you wouldn't be here today if it hit because you would be retired. Yes, with the amount of money you put on that.
Oh yeah,
and the payout when you made it.
But I would say I don't know. It's kind of even. I do support both, which I know I'm going to get like hate for, but
it's all right. We still love you.
I bleed a greenish blue.
Okay. So you have a homework assignment, sir, because that is not an answer. All right. So shifting gears, we're going to go into the blue side of things. The New York Giants, we are going to bring in a guest, new guest, first-time guest. So we welcome to the show. This is Jared Hackmyer, and I will explain a little bit of background on Jared. If you are on the Instagram platform, and I feel like these days, I don't know if there's stats out there with like, how many people use Instagram, but you'd say it's probably well over 90%,
Yeah.
unless you were factoring the senior citizens of the world.
Yeah. Or the babies.
Or the babies, like
Yeah.
your 6-month-old is
Yeah.
not on Instagram yet. You use Instagram. Jared runs a page, and we'll put it up across the screen if you're following the video feed, and that is GOAT NYG, and I'm going to assume that stands for greatest of all time, NYG, and you can see that across the screen. The page has over about 15,000 followers. It's approaching that mark. But if you are a Giant fan, we encourage you, and if you do not follow this page already, I assure you, this page is like, I don't want to say it's real time, but it's pretty close to real time whenever there's any news or anything. Great page. We're going to bring in Jared to the show. How are you, Jared?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me today.
Well, we are excited for you to be here. Thank you for joining us. So here's our plan. Throughout the course of the year, the season, and hopefully for Giants fans, that ends in February, we'll have you on periodically, some weeks, kind of do some check-ins. Obviously, you know way more about the Giants than we do. And we certainly have a lot of listeners on the show that listen to us that ask us Giants questions a lot. We do our best to answer them, but we may defer to you. So what we did, we had some listeners put together some questions for you today.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything crazy, but we're going to start right off at the top with the offseason. The big story seems to have been Saquon Barkley. Was he going to be re-signed? It looked like for a little bit he wasn't. Then he kind of took a deal. I'm not sure it was in his best interest. What did you make of the whole Saquon Barkley contract situation?
The negotiation process definitely was not ideal, especially for us fans. We're sitting there panicking. Are we going to lose probably our best offensive player, who arguably makes Daniel Jones much better when he's on the field? We've all seen it statistically. But Barkley had a 16-game rookie season, offense rookie of the year. Next season, misses 3 or 4 games. His injury problem begins. The next year, tears his ACL, misses the entire season, takes another season, not 100%, and then finally bounces back. So, to give him that 13.5, 14, even maybe $15 million deal, it's not ideal for the Giants and Joe Shane. I feel like we're gonna need one more year, kind of like last year, before he gets that big extension. But what he's walking into this year, it's not long term, but if he maximizes his incentives, he has a chance to be the 3rd highest paid running back in football. And that's pretty fair for the amount of time he's missed in his entire career. I mean, I could say he's the most talented back in football, but is he the best right now? Probably not. There's Nick Chubb, there's Christian McCaffrey, there's Derrick Henry, there's guys who could be paid above him. But for what he's going into this year, he could be making over $13 million this year, which is pretty fair for the time he's missed. But if he maximizes those incentives, he has $10.1 million guaranteed. He got a $2 million signing bonus, and he can get it close to another $1 million in incentives. So, is it what he wants? Probably not. Probably wanted maybe a little more money, a little more guaranteed. But he's back. He's getting paid, and that's all that matters.
Okay, so now that's in the past with Saquon. If we go forward, which is probably what most fans are concerned about, he obviously had a really good 2022 season. Would you expect in 2023 Saquon to have as productive a season as he had last year?
I would say so. Because, that offensive line was a huge problem. The past 2 years, people were saying, why isn't he hitting the hole? Why is he dancing around before he hits the hole? Just hit the hole. But, now we have that big center that we needed, because our interior O-line was struggling a ton. We were kind of just rotating guys in and out, figuring out, what to do with Nick Gates, Ben Bredesen, Mark Lewinsky, all those guys. But, now we have Evan Neal going into his second year, who is one of the best offensive linemen in college football throughout his entire college career. And, now we have a true center and Andrew Thomas on a long-term deal. So, I do think that offensive line is 100% going to help Saquon Barkley. And, as Daniel Jones gets better, I think Saquon is going to, continue to get better with him, especially in this Dable Kafka offense.
Okay, speaking of Daniel Jones, it's a great segue because that was my next question for you. Daniel Jones gets the long-term contract with the big money in the offseason. I have never been a fan of Daniel Jones, and I'm not just going back to draft night with Gettleman when they took him at 7, and you said to yourself, what Duke football player gets picked that high in a draft? That's usually basketball. But I have never been really huge on him. Obviously, again, like Saquon, the 2022 season was good for him. Is the Daniel Jones contract in your eyes going to be worth it for the length of the contract or a mistake?
Well, I feel like what you're saying is fair. Not the biggest fan of him. The first three years of his contract, he was not very reliable. He couldn't really stay on the field. Turnovers were definitely an issue. But as far as last season, Brian Dable stepped in and he kind of found out how to maximize his talent through the passing and the run game, but also to minimize his turnovers. Last year was his lowest interception rate in his entire career. And, Dable leaves Buffalo, and last year was Josh Allen's highest interception rate of his entire career. So, I feel like the system Daniel Jones is in, it's only going to help him, especially after signing this long-term contract, which I know you and 1,000 other Giant fans might say it's too much. But, the one thing about this deal is I love the timing of it because, you have guys like, I know Burrow didn't get paid, but you have guys like Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, Lamar, like those guys all were on pace to get extensions this year. And, Jones might have been the 5th highest paid quarterback when he signed that deal, but, now he's pushing the 10th highest. So that's a good deal for someone who could be arguably a top 10 quarterback this year. $40 million is not a lot for what Jones could turn into be. And, especially with the additions of Waller and Hyatt, who could be an absolute animal, and Paris Campbell and upgraded offensive line, Daniel Jones is only going to get better. And this is the second year that Jones.
So similar, did we lose you there? You're still there. There you go. Okay. So like the last question, right segue was perfect. The additions of Waller and Hyde, are we going to see immediate impacts here in the first year?
Real quick, Jared, you're muted.
Yeah, I think
your mic disconnected.
Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
Here we go.
Yep.
So my question, I'll repeat it in case you didn't hear it. Waller and Hyde, how big of a factor are they going to be in this offense to really help out Daniel Jones, you think, right away?
Waller is going to be, in my opinion, the biggest immediate impact for Jones in his entire career this year, assuming both can stay healthy. But, Waller, the past 3 or 4 years, when he's on the field, he's been a top 4, 5 tight end. This isn't just any tight end. This is basically your average. I mean, your above average number 1 target, even at receiver. But as far as Jalen Hyatt, there's definitely got to be some development there. It's not like he was the top prospect out of the draft. He was a 3rd rounder. Obviously had one of the best seasons in college football last year as far as receivers. But, I think he's definitely going to be a project. I don't think he's going to be an immediate starter either. I think we're going to see Hodgins, Slayton, Paris Campbell, those guys ahead of him. But, I feel like as the season goes on, we're going to start to see more of Hyatt, and then that's just going to keep his playing time just going to keep going up and up and up.
Okay. So we cover the Rangers here a lot, definitely more than any other team. The Rangers 2 years ago hired Gerard Gallant as their head coach. His first year was great. Second year was good, not great. And he's kind of, from a hockey standpoint, known to do that, where he picks up a team, does buy into the system, buy into the message, and then kind of as every year goes on, it dissipates a little bit. We see it in football too. I can name plenty of NFL head coaches that in their first year have a good year and then kind of, I don't want to say it falls apart in the second year, but there's a regression. Brian Daboll last year, as good of a year as you could have. When the Giants hired him, he was the coach to get that year out of Buffalo. I think when you look at that free agent coaching class of what was available that year, he was the guy, ended up being the right pick. Any concerns with Daboll having that regression now in year 2, or you think this guy is so locked in and he knows his stuff that you wouldn't be concerned about it?
Well, the one thing about last year is that, you could argue that our schedule was probably one of the easiest in football, but, he walked into a mess. He walked into a team with a struggling quarterback, a struggling offensive line, a running back who was very questionable with his injury history. And most importantly, especially for an offensive head coach, he had no established receiving core. He kind of walked in with Sterling Shepard, who has a crazy injury history. Darius Slayton, who is coming off one extremely bad season with drops. Wan'Dale Robinson, who's a second round rookie. And then, Daniel Bellinger as well. But, as far as my confidence in him, he maximized everybody on this roster, whether it was Dave Gettleman's picks or Joe Shane's picks. And, with this upgraded roster, I don't believe, and, it's almost, I don't want to believe it, but I also don't believe that we're going to see a regression from Brian Daboll. He's got some pretty good talent on that offense now. And, I think the coaching staff that he brought in, the ability to retain Mike Kafka and Wake Martindale, I think from the defensive and offensive perspective, I don't think we're going to see much regression there. Our schedule definitely is a bit more tough this year, but as far as a roster, this is miles and miles better than what he had last year.
Okay.
In all aspects of the team.
So give me the name. The roster is a lot better, which is good. Give me the name of a player for 2023 on the Giants that people are not talking about, that by the end of the year will be someone that Giant fans look back and be like, we weren't talking about him in the preseason. He had a really good year for the Giants. Who would that be?
There's 5 guys. There's 5 guys I can name, but
not the burger place, but go ahead.
From the minute we signed him, Bobby Okereke, the linebacker we signed from Indianapolis, he's probably been my favorite non-Darren Waller move we made this offseason. We didn't really have an established linebacker core for a long time now. Even with Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams and Kayvon and Aziz, our rush attack was not good at all last year. Even with some big names on that front defensive on the front, but our rush attack was one of the worst in football last year. There was running backs like Kenyon Drake running all over us. That can happen, but Bobby Okereke was. Or he might not be the best in pass coverage, but he is arguably one of the best run stopping linebackers in football. And I think that signing is going to go miles for us. He's still young. We gave him a great deal, so I would say he's my guy. He's been my guy since the day we signed him, and I'm really excited to watch him and see what he does for this core.
Okay, so. The 2023 season, I agree with you. As you said, the schedule is a little bit harder for sure. And it opens up on prime time, September 10th, week 1 at the night game, the Sunday night game at home versus the Cowboys, which always seems to be a night game lately. I feel like when the Cowboys are at MetLife, whether it's week 3 like last year, I think it was a Monday night, there's always that night game. So the Giants 2023, before you came on today in the studio, we were looking at over-unders in the NFL. The Giants over-under was 7.5, which we thought for the year that they had was low. Doesn't mean that I think it should be 10. How many wins in the 17-game season? Just give me a number. How many wins do you think the Giants will have this year?
That's one of the hardest questions you could ever ask me because, we've just been such a roller coaster the past decade, honestly, even since we've won those 2 Super Bowls. We've just been, all over the place. But, if I had to say, I think we're looking at probably eight or 9 wins. I would like to say 10 or 11, but, you have to put the schedule into perspective. We're playing a lot of good teams this year. Whether they were playoff teams or not last year, we're playing the Jets this year, who could be Super Bowl contenders this year. And, there's a lot of other teams who are starting to make noise. And, it's a new era, like the Lions are good. The Jets are good. We're good. All the teams that were bad 2 years ago, they could go to the playoffs this year. So, and then we got to face the Eagles twice a year and the Cowboys twice a year, and God knows what the Commanders are going to do this year. So, I think we're probably looking at eight wins.
Okay.
I'd like to say 9. If we can match last year, that'd be great. But, I'm going to say 8 wins right now.
Well, I appreciate the honesty, right? So with the Rangers, we try to do the same thing. I don't want to come on here and just say they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's just
If I came on here and said what I want, said what I want to hear, I'd say, yeah, we're going 17-0, man.
Right, undefeated. All right, so if you have the Giants winning 8 games, I'm going to assume you do not have them in the playoffs, right?
Not at 8 wins, no.
Okay, the NFC East. Let's do some. The NFC East is going to be won by who?
The Eagles. I think the Eagles are probably also going to win the NFC. Unfortunately, as painful as that is to say.
So if we go around the league, as you said, my partner over here is shading his he hates the Eagles, but
We're going to the Super Bowl.
I'm with you.
yeah. Okay.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
So our executive producer over here in the corner, who you can't see, is like the world's biggest Giants fan. He's going to lose his mind over here. All right. So you have the Eagles representing the NFC. Who do you have representing the AFC?
I would like to say the Bengals, just because, they found a way to pretty much bring everyone back from last year. And they've got Burrow, who's an absolute monster, but I really do think it's going to be the Chiefs again. I really don't think it's easy to stop them. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. He's on his own tier. I think it's Mahomes, and then you go Burrow and Allen, and then just starts to go down after that by a lot. But, I do think that they helped themselves a lot this year. And, as painful it is for me to say, I think Kadarius Toney could be huge for them. And then, they lost Juju, but they've got some other pieces. And, if they could find their way to retain Chris Jones, who's been having some contract issues, I still think they're going to be the same Chiefs team that they were last year. And, I don't think they're going down to anyone in the AFC. So I'm not saying it's going to be a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl, but I do think it could easily be a repeat of last year.
Okay. Before we let you go, we're going to go off the Giant question with you, but stay in the New York market. The Jets obviously getting an enormous amount of press. Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers. Last night they signed Dalvin Cook. Similar to the Giants, they're in a pretty good division. They have the Dolphins and the Bills and the Patriots, so the division itself is competitive. What do you think is a realistic, and I know this isn't your area of expertise, but you know the game and you know the league. What is a realistic expectation for the Jets? Because I've seen, it is such a wide range of predictions. You see some people that think this is the next 1972 Dolphins, whatever it was, where they went undefeated. And then you see things where it's just all, it's all smoke and mirrors. Jets aren't that good. If you were a Jets fan and you covered the Jets, what is the realistic expectation for 2023?
If I was a Jet fan, I would definitely be excited. They just added Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, retained probably a top 4 defensive linemen in the NFL. Garrett Wilson was a monster last year, and now he actually is a quarterback. And they already had Sauce, who stepped in and just dominated the league. But then you also have to remember that the Jets, and I do think history matters. But it's just hard to know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. He definitely didn't do what Aaron Rodgers usually does last year. I know he's walking into a much better offense with a much better defense to help him stay on the field. But I don't think they're going to be that Super Bowl contending team that everyone's saying that they're going to be. I do think they have probably a top 3 defense in football. but I don't think they have that offensive line yet. I do think they're going to struggle a little bit this year more than Jets fans had hoped. So I don't think it's crazy to say they could end up with 11 or 12 wins, but I do think they're going to be at least a year away from actually contending.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you are a Jet fan, I mean, the expectations are wild, right? I mean, you've seen some people that just have them winning the Super Bowl or bust, and then you'll see people say, well, you know what, hold on a second here. They still don't have the offensive line, as you mentioned, down. They're playing in a tough division, this tough conference too, right? You get out of that division, you still have the Chiefs and Bengals, right? So it's like, even if
And
you
the
can get out of
Bills.
it,
Yeah,
right, in
they're
the
still
division.
going to see
So,
the Bills in the playoffs, even if they're in the same division.
yeah. So all right. Well, thank you for joining us. That is Jared Hackmyer from GOAT and NYG. We'll put the page up again if you're just joining us on the video feed. If you're on the audio feed on Spotify or iTunes, again, that is at GOAT, GOAT NYG. Thank you for joining us, and come back during the course of the season and see us again.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I'll see you guys in the season. Hopefully,
you got it.
Yes,
we'll have some good stuff to talk about. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jared.
Exactly. Enjoy, guys.
So as mentioned, the Giants over under is 7.5. We'll get into bets here in the coming weeks for sure.
We got to make the people monies.
We got to try at least, and we can make them money on the DraftKings app, as you know.
Absolutely.
And we certainly encourage people to download this DraftKings Sportsbook app and use a special promo code that we have for them, which is THPN. That is THPN. If you bet just $500, you can score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That is a great turnaround. You bet $5 and you get $150 in bonus bets. I mean, what's better than that? That code,
$5.
Yeah, $5.
Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3,
you
4,
said
5.
500 first.
I did? No.
Yeah.
Bet, I said it wrong. Bet $5 and score $100 plus $150.
What?
In bonus bets instantly.
Do I still qualify even though I have DraftKings?
As an employee? Yes. Even though you're an employee of Undefeated Media. That code THPN is only at DraftKings Sportsbook. And just to note, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, if you are listening to us from there, you can call 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline.ma.org. If you're in New York, where we know a lot of people are that listen to us, you can call 877-8-HOPE-NY, or you can text HOPE-NY. Yes. In Kansas, if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you can call 1-800-522-5700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. In West Virginia, you have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. And all games are regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in Connecticut, help is available if you're in that state by calling 888-789-7777 or visiting ccpg.org. 21 plus in most states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire. This is important because I know you're into this. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. So you got to get your bonus bets in. 1 boost per eligible game, opt-in required, and max bet is $50. 10 plus legs. So your parlay, right? It's got to be 10 plus leg. A lot of fun for a 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply.
Let's go.
Yeah. You can check out the terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms.
Nice.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yes. Very. Use that promo code THPN.
That is cool.
$5 gets you
$150 in bonus bets. Yeah.
Smokes.
Right. I mean,
free money. We keep giving you free money.
It's that is $145 game, right?
Yeah.
$5.
We're not even winning a bet yet.
I mean, you should be all over that, people. Yeah. I don't know why you're not. If you're listening to your show us today, and you're not, let's say, in your car, maybe you're on vacation like you were last week. You're sitting on the beach enjoying the beautiful weather before the late day storms come in, which we seem to get every day. Hopefully, you're listening to us on your Raycon earbuds. Even if you're not on vacation, summer is all about a vacation state of mind. Whether I'm listening to, like, for myself, Dave Matthews Band on repeat. I've gotten more into Dave Matthews again lately. I don't know why. I'm going back in time. So whether you're listening to Dave Matthews Band on repeat or just need to retreat inside my own head for a bit, I love creating my own summer soundtrack by popping in my Raycon wireless earbuds. There's so much going on all summer. Sometimes you just need to stay upbeat, listen to some music to pump you up, to see people, get you ready for your family vacation, or stay calm to get away from your family vacation and stay guided with some meditation. I love using my own Raycon headphones for tuning into various hockey podcasts while I'm catching up on work on my computer at home. Let me tell you, it's the best way to listen. You can use earbud tap functions to toggle between 3 customizable sound profiles, noise isolation, and awareness mode. And guess what? Let's say you leave your charger at home, right, on vacation, right? Oh, I left my Raycon charger at home. They have a 32-hour battery life. Think about that.
Oh, wow.
Which includes 8 hours of playtime. So you can just listen to what you want, when you want, for a really long time. Like maybe enough to get you through your family vacation that you forgot your charger. Absolutely. They come with custom gel tips for the most comfortable in-ear fit, and they start at half the price of other premium bands, but they sound just as good. You pay half the price for a product that's just as good. And wait a second. Let's say you get it and you don't like it. Oh, what did I do? It comes with a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. So create your own soundtrack this summer with Raycon. Mind Your Puckin' Business listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/THPN. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to save yourself 15% on your Raycon headphones. That is buyraycon.com/THPN.
We're using the promo code too there, or is that just the website?
Promo code. No, use the promo code too.
Boom.
THPN, another 15%. So we save you 15% on
away, bro.
15% on Raycon, 15% on Bamboozle Project, or 25%, even more there. And then also
just giving you $340.
Give me $340 for $145 in bets. I mean, you can't lose. You listen to us. It's almost like you're getting paid to listen to us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which sometimes I wonder if people really must be doing.
I mean, if they listen, they get money. I mean, what else do you want?
So have you picked out, because now, like, your personal situation with tickets is different, because I feel like last year you'd come in the studio and you'd be like, oh, my buddy may be giving me tickets. So you don't really plan. You're not like a fan where, okay, I'm going to go to the week 13 game. I already bought my tickets for, November 25th or whatever.
Yes.
Do you have in mind week 1, both New York teams are home? You have the Giants home Sunday night versus the Cowboys. And then Monday night on 9/11, the Jets are the Monday night game
against Buffalo.
So
I didn't know it was like that. I knew they played, but I didn't know it was like that.
So you have two primetime games on back-to-back days at MetLife Stadium. Do you think you will be in attendance?
So, like, if there's a will, there's a way. That's been my strategy. I'm not planning out weeks in advance. I have a couple good friends that, hey, you want to come? Hey, you want to go? Hey, I got an extra ticket. So last year I was extremely lucky. I went to a lot of games last year. Hopefully Adrian won't get mad because I'm probably going to go to a lot of games this year too.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Sunday night Cowboys and then
Monday night Bills on 9/11 too, the 9/11 anniversary.
Yeah, that's like a must see.
I would think. Oh, I would think.
Aaron Rodgers' debut 9/11 against the Bills,
that's got to be. I wonder. All right, let's take a guess. Before you were, and I don't know the answer, but what ticket do you think is more expensive to get in? The Giant game versus the Cowboys or the Jets? I'm gonna guess the Giants.
Okay.
What are you gonna guess?
I'm gonna get expensive.
Yeah, to get into that week 1 game.
I think there's definitely gonna be a bump in ticket prices this year for the Jets. But historically, the Jets prices, even for a beer, like it's like $5 a beer for the Jets, and it's like $15 a beer for the Giants, which is crazy. I don't know the exact prices, but the prices of everything for the Giants are a little bit raised. So
here's the answer. Isn't this amazing? You can get in if you wanted to just get a ticket, get in the stadium, right? For the Giants Cowboys week 1 Sunday night, you can get it for $167. That's the cheapest ticket. The cheapest ticket for the Bills and the Jets is also $167. So it's about the same. I mean, it is the same, but we're in the same. The fans are looking at both those games with the same sort of demand, right? I would have thought it would have been a little bit higher, honestly.
Now that's like aftermarket, right? That's not like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking like secondary market. Yeah. I want to know what people are paying. So, I mean, either way, like if you go to either of those two games, you can't lose for sure.
We can go to both.
Absolutely. So we appreciate you tuning in today. We thank Jared Hackmyer from GOAT NYG for some giant insight. We'll be shifting the content here of the MYPB show to football a little bit more here as we go on, which is always an exciting time of year to be around here. Bamboozle Project, again, check them out. Use promo code MYPB. We'll save you some more money there. Why not? And money's growing on trees.
Yeah.
We could save you 25% by using that promo code on that site. We appreciate you listening. Anything else on your end, sir?
No, I'm excited for football.
You ready? Have you been
Football,
watching
fantasy.
preseason?
A little bit. Abnormally unimportant snaps happening this preseason.
Yeah.
I feel like
Mhm.
people aren't even playing. Like they're not even playing
They're not
the first
playing.
minute.
And
Like usually they play the first quarter or the first half.
Yeah.
They're not even
Yeah,
playing
they
people
don't.
now.
Yeah, it's so preseason football, like when it comes back, everyone goes crazy. And then it's like you turn it on, and I have to say, and again, I haven't watched a lot of it, but what I have watched, the product is clearly not the, I mean, it's just not the same intensity, it's not the same players. It's good to have it back.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll look at it like it's a little appetizer for week one in a couple weeks.
They used to play a quarter. Now they're like Aaron Rodgers hasn't even suited up.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, I don't even think suited up.
Fun times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you for listening. Like I said, we're back to the weekly approach. So we will talk to you next week on MYPB.